Guys, why are there so many crazy people in America? I'm gonna start today's video with a story time. The other day, my girlfriend Taylor and we walked outside of our building where we live in our new neighborhood to walk our little dog, Peppy. He wanted to go to the dog park to play with his friends. And as we get to the dog park, there was this lady just posted up right by the gate she was homeless and definitely schizophrenic or bipolar or some kind of crazy combination of that. But as we passed her by, she locked in on me like a heat-seeking missile. I have never heard so much negativity come out of a single person's mouth ever in my life. She was calling me all kinds of insults, all kinds of curse words. She was just being racist and sexist. It was honestly horrendous. Like, the energy that I was feeling coming out of that person was terrible. So this really made me think. In LA, we have a lot of that. Like, you can walk out of your house and there's going to be homeless people just sitting there on the grass pretty much around the corner, just ready to jump on you, and they're aggressive. So like every time we go, we have to carry pepper spray with us so that I can protect my girlfriend, I can protect my dog, and my girlfriend doesn't even feel safe in most areas of LA to just walk around by herself because this is a very prevalent issue here. But I'm comparing this to how like I used to live back in my old country where I immigrated from when I was 13 years old. I used to live in Belarus, and none of that was happening. Like, there was a lot of poverty and homelessness, but people weren't crazy. Like, nobody was aggressive towards you. Nobody was openly schizophrenic or things like that. Like, I'm sure there's been certain cases of that happening and there's mental asylums and things like that, but I feel like it's just a much bigger issue here than there, and it's a lot more common here. But why? Why is that happening? And as of recently, I feel like I'm slowly coming up with an answer. I feel like it's because of the grind culture in America. After I graduated college, and even during college, there is this really big overarching theme in American culture that you have to work your butt off if you want to succeed. And of course, I mean, that is true. You have to be hardworking, you have to know and learn and do all these things. But I feel like there's got to be a limit for everything. We're constantly brainwashed here to look at all these other people and see how successful they are, and that the lifestyle that we have to live is in a mansion and driving all these luxurious cars and making millions of dollars all the time. This is like the aspirational lifestyle, and so many people, they get motivated by that and they just start working their butts off and paying zero attention to recovery. And what happens is burnout. And let me tell you, I'm one of those people that is a prime example of how terrible burnout is. After I graduated college and started working in aerospace in the industry, I also decided that aerospace wasn't enough because I would never actually be able to make real money just working a 9-to-5 job, especially living in California where taxes are so high and rent costs a ridiculous amount of money. So I decided I'm going to pursue a second job. I became a personal trainer. I was working with clients. I was basically making all of my money online, and I was pretty successful at it. There was a time when I had over 20 clients at a single time, which for my standards back then was a very good amount, and I was working with all of them individually. So in addition to my full-time job of working a 9-to-5 schedule, it was actually 8-to-5 because it was like a longer working day, I would also have to wake up at 5 in the morning and create meal plans and workout programs for the people that I was working with. And I was one of those people that I was a very diligent coach, so I would probably spend 2 to 3 hours per person per week. So it was essentially like working 2 full-time jobs. And my overall hours, including my full-time job, pretty much amounted to like 80, sometimes 90 hours per week. I was not hanging out with any friends. I was not going out. I was not resting. All I was doing was just working. And for the first few months, I was like, wow, I'm just like this impersonation of the grind lifestyle. I'm hustling. I'm making money. And money was great. But eventually, I got to the point when my brain was literally not producing any dopamine. Like, I could not even sleep good. I was so burnt out. I was not creative. Everything that I was doing felt like I was just throwing it in the garbage can. It was like the most horrible time, honestly, in my life, maybe apart from my diagnosis after I got diagnosed with diabetes for the first few months. But it was horrible. I just got myself so burnt out. I feel like I would wake up and I would have those dark circles around my eyes. I would even walk out to the street to get a little bit of fresh air, and people would look at me and they would think that I'm crazy, probably, because I honestly was. Like, I saw no light except for work. And only after I kind of took a little step back and I realized that I really need to balance my work life with everything else that I'm doing, with my fitness journey, and with some of those activities that are there to distract me a little bit and take my mind off of things, that is when I realized that I'm a lot happier. And that is the only way for me to make my life and business a lot more sustainable in the long term. But it suddenly all started making sense. This is why we have so many crazy people out here just roaming the streets, because people overwork themselves to the point of losing their mind. And that's why everybody gets on antidepressants, because you work harder, but it does not mean that you're necessarily going to make more and more progress. It's kind of like a diminishing returns situation. You're putting those extra hours in, but they end up hurting you more than they end up benefiting you or translating into larger amounts of money that you're making. So there is this popular saying that I read in a book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, where he says, if you want to become a master at a certain skill or craft, you have to put in 10,000 hours into that craft. So for example, if you're working a sales job, you have to spend 10,000 hours selling a particular course or item or package or whatever if you want to get really good at sales. Or if you want to become a really good swimmer, you need to put in 10,000 hours into practicing your breaststroke or freestyle or whatever style you're swimming, right? But he doesn't mention a very, very important thing when he talks about this 10,000 hour principle. It's that those 10,000 hours need to be also accompanied by maybe just as much rest and even more sleep. There's this really profound book that I've read recently called Rest by Alex Pang, I believe. You can check it out. It talks specifically about this. It's like the amount of work that you are doing does not make any sense without rest. It's just going to result in burnout. It's going to result in you feeling horrible, and it's going to result in absolutely zero productivity for you. So it makes sense now, honestly. And now in my life, of course, I'm still trying to grow my fitness business, my mindset business. I'm still working my full-time job, also trying to take on new technical challenges at work and things like that. So the amount of workload is increasing for me, but it's extremely important for me to manage my time in such a way where I also have enough time to take my dog on a walk in the morning, not have to worry about that deadlines or time management and things like that, not have to worry that, oh, if I skip the gym one day, I'm going to lose all of my progress, because recovery is so important just for your well-being, your creativity, how you feel day to day. If you're not at peace with yourself and you wake up in the state of burnout, it's honestly a horrible way to live and a way to be. One thing is like you're just feeling down on a particular day, which happens to pretty much anybody. Something can happen to you, you're feeling down. Like for example, yesterday I had a sales call with a potential customer client for my Sinscraft Academy fitness and mindset course, and they ended up not investing into themselves. And I was very bummed out by that, because I thought that this person was a really good candidate for what I was offering, and I could really help them with their fitness goal and just overall life transformation. Like, they were essentially a perfect customer, but they ended up saying that they didn't believe this was right for them. And of course I respect their decision, but I was still feeling a little bit down that I, of course, invested my own time. I really believed that this person could benefit from this, but they just decided not to trust my advice. And the problem is, of course, mine, and I take responsibility for it, but having a down day is not the same as being burnt out. It's a lot worse if you are in a burnt out state. So, guys, I just want to make this request for all of you watching this video. Don't burn yourselves out. Please allocate enough time for your recovery. Sometimes read books that are not just business books or books meant to be for self-improvement. Read a fiction book. Listen to some kind of interesting mystery podcast or something. Like, do things that are taking your attention away from work, business, and grind a little bit. Because I'm telling you, in the long term, it's going to play a major role for your longevity and your sustainable lifestyle. And this applies to everything. This also applies to fitness. Don't be the kind of person that just works out every single day as much as possible, because you're going to overtrain yourself, you're going to overwork yourself, and you're actually going to harm your body more than you would end up benefiting it. So that's the main message of this video, guys. Let's stay sane, let's not become crazy, let's rest, let's recover properly. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys in the next video.